Okay, hold on. I'm new to this. Let me remove this. Hold on. Delete. There we are.
You're an expert already. Look at that.
Hello. Now let me see if I can get this chat up. Good. Yay. It's working.
Some more of this.
This is awesome. Okay, good. Now let me just see what happens when I do this. Oh, okay. So I can either have the chat on the side, or how would you prefer it, Rick? Do you want to be able to read the comments, or you want me to put them up as they come in?
It doesn't matter to me.
All right. Well, I'd rather see your face. So let's talk some, because we got a lot to talk about. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on Paranormal Brew this evening. I have a special guest, Rick McCallum. Am I saying that right? The last name?
McCallum, actually.
McCallum.
Because it's Scottish, you know.
Oh, okay.
You see my Scottish cap going
here. Yes. So if anybody read my description for my event, you have seen this man's resume, which is, I was saying, I was very impressed with it. And so I'm honored to have you on, because, you know, you've done a lot of stuff in the horror paranormal field. And I don't think I've had too many horror people on. I don't even know if I've had any. So you're my first.
Yay!
You're my first. I love firsts. So you're my first horror guy. So I'm going to stop talking, because everybody that's talking knows me. So I want you to talk. So let's start at the beginning. You know, were you into the paranormal when you were younger? You know, how did you wind up finally getting all the way to Hollywood Ghost Hunters?
Well, I got started when I was 13, and it was accidental. My grandfather had got killed in a gun cleaning accident in Chicago, and he wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. And my mom had very little money, so we took a train down to Paducah, and we put the coffin inside the funeral home, and we walked trying to find a place to stay. And we found this one place, looked like classic horror movie place. It was an old brownstone 2-story building with the flickering lights. And we went in, and my mother said, "Do you have any rooms?" He goes, "I got one left." And she goes, "Well, how much is it?" And he told us. She goes, "Okay, we'll take it." And he goes, "Well, I have to tell you," he says, "it's haunted." And I didn't really know my grandfather hardly at all. So, you know, I was kind of like, you know, I'm 13 years old. I'm going to stay at a haunted place. Like, woo! You know, this is like getting a golden ticket to Disneyland. I'm all excited. So we go upstairs, and it looks like a volleyball court sideways. It's all wood, and there's rolling beds on both sides. They're about 20 feet apart. Well, we had a tough, long day, so we hopped into bed, and I fell asleep, and I hear my mother scream. So I sit up, and I'm going to attack whoever it is with my 13-year-old body that was about this big. And I look over, my mother's bed is just really zooming across the floor right towards me.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at it, and I realize my bed is going across the floor towards her, and they slammed together in the middle of the room.
Oh, wow.
And we just sat there looking at each other, and my mother finally went, Well, I guess the guy downstairs is right. So we tried everything we could. We tried rolling glasses, to see if the floor was warped. I went behind and shoved it as far as I could. It went like 3 feet. So
Right.
we couldn't figure it out. So after that, I was hooked.
And you weren't scared? Like I would have been like scared out of my I mean, I can't say that. I would think at 13 because I was afraid of it before I got into it. So I automatically think at 13 I would be scared. I mean, you're so brave.
Well, I think I just wasn't smart enough to be scared at the time.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I hear you.
To
But
me, it was
what about
something.
mom? Was mom like,
No, my mother was, she was extraordinarily intelligent and not one to fool around with. So ghosts came to the wrong room, I'll tell you. And that's what mess with me, mother.
that's awesome. So go
But
ahead.
that's when I got started. That I got my interest in it, and it just blossomed from there. It just kind of exploded from there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I go every year for roughly 3 weeks to Scotland to ghost hunt all the castles. I go to Ireland. I've been to England, Switzerland, Australia,
That's awesome.
Puerto Rico, the Bahamas. So I go all over the place ghost hunting. It's Scotland by far is the one that's the most active.
Really? Out of
By
all the
far.
places out of all the places you've been, Scotland is the most active in your opinion.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And it's not only is it active, it's intensely active.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's everybody asked me, they said, well, what's so haunted in Scotland? And I just say, Scotland, the whole freaking place is haunted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing because here in the US, I mean, we have old places, but we don't have, I mean, I just was in Italy, and I'm walking on streets that were built in the 11th century.
Yeah.
You don't realize, and you can feel that. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is that that you feel. The older, it's almost like the structures or the whatever it is, is holding all these centuries and centuries and centuries of like stuff that occurred there. You know what I mean? And so when you're walking on these streets or you're in these buildings that are thousands of years old, it's so intense.
Yeah, people don't realize, like, we've only been around for going on around 300 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've been around for thousands of years.
Thousands. Yeah. So you're 13 and then you're into the paranormal stuff. Was your goal, because you had mentioned like in your bio, how you worked, on, with Chuck Norris and you've Clint Eastwood and this and that. So that's like TV horror films, right? So did the paranormal bring you into the heart? Were you looking to do paranormal, or were you just kind of like doing your thing and wherever the journey took you?
I was kind of just floating down the river to see where I would go.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do the stunt thing, and I never wasn't really going out trying to find the paranormal. And my father and I hadn't gotten along for quite a long time, and finally we had made up, and I went down to visit him in Texas. And in my book, which actually won the Paranormal Book of the Year award, just shows you what bribery and deceit will do. But anyway, the title of the chapter is The Most Haunted House in America, and it's not even close. And it's true. I mean, the place that we were staying in was just stupid haunted.
Yeah.
The first night I was there,
this is the place where you and your mom were?
No, it was me and my dad. It was down in Texas.
Oh, okay.
My mom lived in Chicago.
Okay.
I get there, and my dad was having a couple of his friends over because there's one friend that was his birthday. And just to show you how they think down there, they had to drive him back to the bar so he could pick up his car and drive home. I was like, that doesn't sound right. But I asked where I was sleeping, and they had a room that looked like it was set up for a lady because it had the canopy bed with the the little frills and things like that. And I could see in there pretty well because there was a window right at the end of the bed, and the light was coming in. And everybody was gone in the house, and I lay down and heard.
I love that when that happens.
I look and I go, what was that? Right? So still I lay back down, I hear even more aggressive sound. I'm like, what is that? And I thought, does he have a dog? So I get up and I look under the bed. I open up the closet door, no dog. Sit back down. I hear it again. And I'm thinking, all right, what's going on? And I look up, and up on the right side, there was a air conditioning duct. And I thought, oh, the air conditioner is turning off, right? And it goes, again. I went, okay, they don't turn off 4 times.
Right.
Something's going on. So I sat up, and I'm looking around because I can see what's in there. And right back here, I'm right behind my ear and on my neck, I felt this hot blast of air, and this thing went right on my neck. Well, I jumped out of bed, and I grabbed the door handle, and there's one of them slider locks on it. And I just went like this and went bam and snapped the frame out of the door. And I was out the front door. I said, hell with this. And I'm waiting out front. My dad comes up, and he had my friend who went down with me. They were both there, and he gets out and he looks at me, and I'm standing on the front lawn. And he goes, he got you, didn't he? I said, who got me? And he goes,
oh.
And I went, you know about that? He goes, happens all the time. Wow. And I said, yeah, he did it. By the way, I broke the door.
Wow.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, and the place was like that all the time.
So was it just like, was it the same entity, or do you think it was like multiple, or?
Well, we kind of got a clue of what it was. It was actually 3 entities who had been hung in the general area of the backyard. Oh. And they had been gangsters back in the Bonnie and Clyde days. They weren't with Bonnie and Clyde. It was just that period.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually had a house that had all these secret passageways and stuff so that when the police would come, they couldn't find them.
Oh.
And then we just happened to bump into a guy whose house it was, and he was telling us that his house was linked to our house because that's where they hid, and our house is where they died. So
wait a second, there's like a passageway. Oh, you're saying it's linked, historically linked.
Yeah, just through what had happened, Yeah. In the guy's house, there were all these places for the gangsters to hide, so they could never catch him. They finally caught him outside, and the guys ran for it, and they ran him down at our house, strung him up.
Wow, that's crazy. So
yeah, that was an intense, very intense place, and I would love to go back there, but I had a friend go check it out, and there's like a very older man whose wife just passed away, and I don't want to.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't want to go in there and do that.
Yeah. So when you were like, let's start like when you were doing the stunts and stuff like that, did you ever experience anything on the sets? And like, did anybody ever like know that you were into the paranormal? You guys kind of talked about it and things like that?
Well, the paranormal I kept to myself for quite a while. But as it started going on, Kane Hodder, the guy who plays Jason, in the Friday the 13th,
yeah,
he's my best friend, and we did a lot of movies together. And I found out we were in Mansfield prison, and we were shooting a movie there. And he says, "Hey, let's ghost hunt." I never knew that he liked ghost hunting, right?
Oh, cool.
So we went ghost hunting throughout the place, like 3 a.m, and we actually got some stuff. So that kind of piqued our interest. We said, we should start a ghost hunting group. So we got another friend of mine, R.A. Mihailoff, who played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So everybody goes, well, you're the good-looking guy in the group. And I said, we didn't set the bar very high. We all monsters and killers and stuff, So, but yeah, we started from there. And that's a movie place. So we were doing a movie there, and that was one of the first places.
Wow.
So yeah, anytime I would go out of town, I would find a place to ghost hunt. And if Kane was there too, Kane would go with me, and RA, we would go around. And that's actually how we ended up getting on Ghost Adventures. Kane actually talked to him at a convention, and he goes, "Holy crap, we need you on here." So
that's awesome. So
yeah,
so you guys got to go on Ghost Adventures and investigate.
yeah, we were actually the only group. I don't know if any have since, but we were the only group that actually investigated with them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I investigated with Nick Groff. Kane investigated with Zach, and Aaron investigated with RA. So because we were all over different places investigating, and it was a lot of fun.
Now, when you guys do conventions and stuff, and you guys go to like paranormal conventions or horror conventions?
Well, they generally go to horror movie conventions, and I usually go to the paranormal ones.
You guys don't go together to them?
We do once in a while, but mostly it's when you're putting a show together and you have Jason and Leatherface already, they're not going to pay for the guy who played Darkwolf to come in.
Hey, listen, it's a trio. It's a trio.
Yeah, but we don't like each other, so we. So no, that's just. I go to a lot of paranormal stuff. I'd like to go to more horror and paranormal things. Obviously, people sit there and go, "Yeah, this." I'll sit there and I'll be in a paranormal conference, and they'll go, "Yeah, this guy's done 3 movies." I'm like, really? And they said, "Yeah," and that's something. I said, "I've done 75."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are commenting. So we have somebody watching from Indonesia. And she says, "I remember your film Naked Gun. It was shown in Indonesia." So they were able to see that. And then Tombstone and Globe.
Yeah, that's my friend Tracy Pinal, who actually has a daughter. Do you know Tracy?
No, I do not. I was just saying hi to her.
She got me down to Tombstone and Globe for these paranormal things. Tombstone was very big ghost hunting thing.
I would love to go to Tombstone. I would love to go to Tombstone.
Tombstone is really something. We actually had Mikey Thompson and myself were partnered up to go to different places, and we had one of the best things. We went into the old mortuary, which is now a coffee shop, and we went in there, and a little boy who was 7 years old named Lincoln came along, and he had all these little devices attached to him, and he was adorable. He looked like the Fisher-Price starter kit ghost hunting. But anyway, yeah, he was adorable, and we were trying to make sure he was involved because we had like an hour with each group, and I asked him, ask a question and stuff. Well, he first starts off with like the Gettysburg Address, and I kind of went, no, ask him a yes or no question, So finally we got him on track, and I asked him, I said, ask him if there's any little boy here that can play with you and what his name is. Now, the story is there was a boy named Danny who got kicked in the head by a horse and got killed, back in the old days. And he goes, "Are there anybody people here that can play with me?" Right? And we get on the thing, goes, "Yes." And he goes, "What's your name?" And it goes, "Danny."
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool. Well, we went through the rest of the stuff, had more stuff happen. Matter of fact, the father went over and told the promoters, saying, "Those two are wonderful. Nobody could be nicer to our child." But what was so cool is the very next group that came in, I said, all right, I asked the question. I said, "All right, Danny, if you're still here, can you tell me the name of the little boy you were playing with?" And he goes, "Lincoln."
Wow.
And it was like,
yeah,
spot on, both names.
Yeah. That's, to me, that's like, that definitely raises eyebrows when there's answers like that, intelligent answers like that, When you were like at that one place, that those sighs or whatever, those groans or whatever, almost sounds maybe like a residual thing, but to me, but when you get intelligent answers, how do you explain that? When I was in Gettysburg one time investigating, it's one of my favorites because it was innocently done. in a way that should have been done. So like I was at the 20th Main Monument, Little Round Top, but the 20th Main Monument. And I was thinking globally, not where I was at. So I said, "Are you from Pennsylvania?" I was doing like a little EVP burst by myself. And I said, "Are you from Pennsylvania?" And when you listen back on the recorder, you hear, "No, Maine." And I realized, I was like, holy shit, I was at the 20th Main Monument. Like, so my thing is, if I would have said, "Are you from Maine?" And then I got an answer, "Yeah," like that's arguable, right? Like it could be anything. Somebody could say, "Oh, that was wind," or "That was your jacket," or "That was this or that," but to hear "No, Maine," it's like, so stuff like that to me is more concrete than yes and no's.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you get an actual voice and it actually says something to you,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something. I'm coming to Vulture City. If anybody ever invites me.
Well, they say Tracy says that they're waiting for you.
Yeah, they're up to no good. Tracy has a daughter who's about this big, and we were in the Tombstone Cemetery, and she asked us to keep an eye on her. Now she's 21. She's not a kid, but she's kind of small, right? So I'm looking around and I don't see her. It's like midnight. I'm looking around and finally I went, "Where are you?" And there was a bush in front of me, a small bush, and she just goes and stands up. She was just curled up, like sitting. When she stood up, I was like, the bush is alive. So that was fun.
She said, "I'm waiting for you to tell me you're on your way."
Well, tell me when it is.
So how often does Hollywood Ghost Hunters, how often do you guys get together and investigate? Do they go with you where all over the world, like you say you go to, or you guys just like?
Well, it's been a while since we've been able to ghost hunt, because when we first got started, we were doing a lot more movies together. And second off, we all lived within 30 miles of each other. So, if we want to go ghost hunting, off we went.
Right.
Well, now we live in 3 different states.
Yeah.
And the fact is, Kane's always at a convention. RA's usually at a convention. It's almost impossible to get a hunt together. I've been lucky enough to be a lifetime member of Scottish Paranormal, and actually in their Hall of Fame too. Cool. And the only reason I brag about that is because I'm not in any other Hall of Fames, and I want to get that one into the conversation. No,
I'm not in any, so that's amazing. Good for you.
So I ghost hunt with them a lot, but I have other friends here like Mikey Thompson, Kat Hobson, who's with Fate Magazine Radio. One of my good friends. We always go ghost hunting together. Matter of fact, I have a ghost hunting tour coming up September 1st through the 9th in Ireland.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Secret. Oops, fumble. What is it? It's called Secret Ireland Tours. I had to look.
That sounds.
But I'm looking forward to that.
So, and you've been there so much. I mean, are they going to some of the places? Did you recommend the places, or where are some of the places that you're going?
Well, 2 of them are about as iconic as you can get. One of them is the Hellfire Club.
Okay.
Which is just, I've been there, and I actually had an amazing thing there where I was talking to a relative.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I was done, I turned around and looked at people. They're all stunned. And I went, "Wow, let's play back the tape." They go, "Well, we weren't recording."
No, I am always recording. Always recording. Always.
Yeah, we were actually talking through the Frank's box, which was really interesting. I had a relative named John Wilkes, who was a member of Parliament, and he was also the Lord Mayor of London. And he also had a wicked sense of humor. And I started talking. I said, "Hey, my name's Rick. I came from the United States to say hello to my relative, John Wilkes." And it goes, "Relative?" Right? And I said, "Yeah, I'm your relative." Right? And I said, "I just wanted to say hi." And he goes, "Hi, Rick."
Oh,
And
wow.
everybody's looking like, what? Right? And I said, all right, now I got to ask this question. Find out if you're really my relative. Did you really dress a baboon or a chimpanzee? I can't remember which one it was, up like Satan and turn him loose into the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club, by the way, was all the rich, famous people where they would bring in ladies of the evening and have these free-for-alls. And he dressed one up like Satan and turned it loose, scared the hell out of everybody. And they ended up throwing him out of the Hellfire Club.
Oh, wow.
I said, yeah. And he said, yes, that he'd done that. I said, yeah, now I know for sure we're related because I would have done something like that. But yeah, the Hellfire Club, I'm looking forward to getting back to. And we're also going to go to Lep Castle, which is
Lep Castle.
Yeah, is really
I
something.
remember the Ghost Hunters episode. I think it was Lep Castle with Barry Fitzgerald, where Barry, they caught like a face of something, and it was like the creepiest. They Barry thought it was like an elemental. You know, I think in Ireland, right? Don't they have a very big high belief in elementals?
Oh yeah, there's, they also have a big belief in the fairies, the elves, all of that stuff. They're real believers in that too. I actually saw that show. A friend of mine, I think, produced it. So I actually was watching that one. I have ghost hunted with Barry before. He's a very, very cool dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Hellfire Club and Love Castle, I'm really looking forward to those two.
So, and that's not until next year, right?
Yeah, that's September 1st through the 9th.
So tell me some of the you said you've been to so many different places and countries and all kinds of stuff, ghost hunting. Like, are these like the same type of a venue or are you just going on your own and going and investigating?
Well, everywhere else I'm talking about is me just going.
That's awesome.
I find friends, just say, I try and find a group that's local where I'm going to go, and I call up, say, hey, let's go ghost hunting. They say, okay.
I mean, even like you did that, like, what about like, because you said you've been to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Puerto Rico was different. You had to be very careful where you were going in Puerto Rico.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, are you going there? Like, so you were going there just by yourself to ghost hunt, right?
No, we actually were doing, my family and we were producing the Evel Knievel show.
Okay.
Down there. So, but in my meantime, I would sneak away to find things. So, and that was before I had any equipment. That's back when you just went out there and you just, oh, this is what happened. And they either believed you or didn't. But now there's so much equipment that it's amazing.
Do you prefer using the newer stuff or do you prefer the old ways?
Well, people laugh at me because I love my K2 meter.
Right. I mean, well, people still use them.
I do. And I get some people will even tell you, they're like, I hate to say this, but two people I say that's the king of the K2 meter because wherever we go, I get them to go off. I mean, I was in, what is the name of that place? Bannockburn, which is a very famous place in Scotland. And I was in there, my K2 was going off all 5 lights. And the two girls that were staying there, they were just getting like one little blip, right? I said, put them down here about this far under each one, right? And they said, okay. And I went above my hand. I said, all right, light them all up, right? And all the lights went off on all the K2 meters. And they're like, oh my goodness. Happens all the time with me. They just, for some reason, that seems to work.
You seem like, I mean, you've accomplished so much, and somebody that's been so exposed to so much diversity and so much different cultures and so many different, I'm assuming with the different cultures came different religions and different ways of life. I mean, do you think that kind of helps you to be more open-minded when you go to places?
Well, I'm pretty open-minded about everything because I figure I'm going into their house, wherever I'm going, if it's a field, whatever. And I just try to be open to it. You know, I have a feeling that spirits can see your energy and they will come to like energy. Okay. If they look and they see you have a good soul, they'll come to you. Right. So I end up getting quite a bit of stuff that comes to me. So I'm real happy about that. But yeah, that's just what I think. You just have to have an open mind and open heart, you know, and because I always say this to people. They say, well, how do you ghost hunt? I said, well, imagine you went out in your backyard and there was a little lost puppy back there. I said, it's kind of afraid and it's running into the back of the thing. What would you do? They'd say, well, I talk real quiet, get down low and talk in a nice voice until he came over. And I said, that's how you ghost hunt.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy.
Yeah, you got to let them come to you.
I mean, I might chase a puppy.
Well, yeah, I got to have the puppy. Man, puppy.
But that's a really good analogy. And I will totally give you street cred, but I might use that. But I'll say that I got it from you for sure.
Well, as long as I get author's credit, go for it.
100%.
No, but that's true. I mean, if you have to let them come to you. One thing I hate is anybody that tries to start causing trouble with the spirits.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
And I will shut them up really quickly. Just say, if you're going to do that, there's the door.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some people that just don't. I was talking to somebody, and now I can't remember where the place was. It was fairly recent. It was a group of people that signed up to investigate this location, and they all showed up drunk, and gave the owner such a hard time, and she had to kick them out. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank, but it just happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what? Like why? Like it's just, there are some crappy people out there that do stuff that because they don't know any better, or they think, what they see on TV, the newer TV anyway, is how you're supposed to investigate. And some people take it a little too far. I don't like that either. If I'm with somebody and they try to like, beat their chest and act like a tough guy, I'm like, not around me.
Yeah, me either. I've actually taken people and said, move along.
Yeah.
We don't do that here. You're welcome to stay, but you're not going to be doing that. So, but I've been to so many places and so many things have happened to me that are just astounding. I remember we were all sitting in Balgony Castle in Scotland, and one of my friends has a Frank's box. Matter of fact, he's the tech guy on Haunted Scotland TV show.
Okay.
And he's sitting there, and I finally just said, is there anything in the castle we should be afraid of? And he comes back with a Scottish accent. It goes, the energy. I mean, clear as a bell. And they went, holy crap. It's like,
forgive me, but a Frank's box, is that similar to a spirit box or like a?
Well, the Frank's box is the original one. That's the one. Okay. That's the wooden one that you see sometimes. And I think that's by far and away the best one. Because that's the one that was talking, about my relative, was that same box. And,
okay.
And you can't find them anymore. He didn't make that many of them. The guy that made them, Frank Sumption, made them to begin with. So it's like trying to find a DR60 recorder. They're good luck. And when you do, you better have really deep pockets.
No. See, and that's the thing. Like I'll stick with my Olympuses and my Sonys, and you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of an old school investigator where, I'll use the equipment like if we're doing an event or if we're just trying to get the mood going, you know what I mean? But I don't put any weight into a lot of the equipment. Not saying that, like meaning like the REM pods and the, all that stuff, for me, it's more about the EVPs are the biggest thing for me. EVPs or hearing disembodied voices or, I've never really seen, have you ever seen an apparition?
Yes, several times.
Yeah, I've never
seen you got to understand, I've been doing this for more than 50 years.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And I've been hunting for that long. So, I mean, I mean, I've been to all the places you can think of, and I've had so many amazing things happen. Of course, I've had a lot of times when I was sitting on my ass in a cold castle in Scotland for hours and nothing happened. So,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
But some of the things that have happened, as a matter of fact, I need to tell you one that just recently happened. The Laird. Now in Scotland, the Lord of the Manor is called the Laird. Okay, in Ireland, the Lord of the Manor is called the Lord. So it's just the same thing, just different way of saying things. Well, when I first went over to Scotland, they took me to Balgony Castle. And there was this guy looked like he came straight out of central casting to be the laird of a castle. He had long beard, had on a kilt. He had a Irish wolfhound with him. I mean, he looked like the perfect guy if you're going to do a movie.
Right.
And I started talking to him. He was fascinating, right? And what was so cool is I just really blown out my knee. I'd been out ghost hunting by myself in the forest and fell down a mountain and just screwed my knee up. But he asked me, he goes like this, he goes, "Can you make it up 3 flights of stairs with that knee?" I said, "You got a handrail?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I can make it." He goes, "Come on, I'm going to show you my private residence." So we're going up there, and my friends Ryan and Gregor, the guys from Scottish Paranormal, they said, "He's never taken us up there," right? So it's kind of weird. People take a liking to me. I don't know why. I'm like 6'4", 225 pounds, ugly, and I don't know why people want to hang out with me.
Stop saying that.
Well, there's a reason they cover my face with a mask whenever I go on the set. But anyway, we go upstairs, and he's showing us all the stuff like that. So I got to be really close friends with him, and he tells me, he says, "Can you keep a secret?" When I was leaving, he calls me over, and I said, "Yeah." So he tells me this secret, and I went, "You've got to be kidding me." He goes, "No, there's something there. There's a reason I'm telling you." Right? And I went, "Okay." And I said, "Okay, I won't tell anybody." So I came back a couple of years later because of COVID. Couldn't go during COVID. And I see him again, and we were actually filming there, a live thing for Dark Zone TV. And he was sick. He was in a hospital bed, and he was down on the first floor. He couldn't get up to the third floor. And we're all standing there, and we're all in the line. He's looking at each person. When he comes to me, his eyes light up, and he reaches his hand up, and I grab his hand. He pulls me down, and he whispers something to me, and I whispered something back to him. And I went, "I got to go outside. There's a lot of dust in here." I didn't fool anybody. They all nabbed me. Mm-hmm. But the end of the night, he calls me back in. He goes, "All right." He says, "You didn't tell anybody my secret?" I said, "No." And he goes, "Good, because I only told you half of it." I was like, "Okay." He says, "I'm going to tell you the other half." So he told me, and I never told anybody. And shortly thereafter, he passed away. And when I looked into his, still wasn't going to tell anybody what he told me, but when I read the obituary, they talked about how Balgony Castle was like a center place for the Knights Templar who are still alive. Mm-hmm. He was the headmaster, the Grand Master of the Knights Templar.
Oh wow! And
what he told me before is, he says, "You have something with you about the Knights Templar," which is why he's telling me, right? And I said, "Okay." And he said, and I'd always felt like something about the Knights Templar really drew me to them, right? But he had also told me that, he says, the first time, he goes, "There's 277 living Knights Templar in the United States." And I said, "How do you know that?" And he goes, "Because I'm in charge of them." Well, it turns out he's in charge of everybody.
Right.
So, but here's the story I wanted to tell you. I was back there with 5 of my friends, and we were doing a ghost hunt, and people would come in and they'd be with us for 45 minutes. Well, I had my K2 meter, and they set up anything you could do, mel meters, REM pods, other K2s, anything that would light up with the thing. And we sit down, and I start telling the people, we're actually in a museum area where I'd never been. And right next to it was the wood shop where the laird did everything. And trust me, this is going to get interesting. Right? I'm sitting there, and I've got my K2 meter, and all of a sudden, and I say, "Are there any spirits here with us?" And it goes, bam, 5 lights and locks. The girl next to us, hers locks up. So we got 3 K2 meters, and they're all on 5, and they're locked. I've never seen that before. Right? So I'm saying, please step away so we can get some answers and communicate with you. Still, so I turned it off, turned it back on. Boom, locked again. Right? And all of a sudden, Cat Hobson goes, "Holy crap!" And I turn around and look, and every single thing in the museum that we had set up, every single thing was as high as it could go. The REM pod, as she even said in this one thing she wrote for me, she goes, "It looked like fireworks were going off. It was so hard. Boom, 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 boom."
Oh, wow.
And they're all looking at me, and I'm like, what is the deal? And then finally went, "Oh shit, it's the Laird." It took me that long to realize it was my friend, say hello to me.
That's awesome.
But that was the most amazing thing I've ever had happen.
That sounds like it. I've never experienced anything like that where everything was just going off and everything was just, at the same time.
It really looked like an explosion of energy. Just boom, everything in the room went off at one time.
Wow.
And what was funny is there were 3 other groups that came down with us. Nothing went off. Just right at the start.
So wow, that says something. I can see how that would. Would you say that that's the craziest thing that's ever happened? I mean, you've been to so many different places. I mean,
yeah, that is by far that's the one that got me right here the most.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying goodbye to me, but the very next night was another bizarre thing happened. We were in Inverness Cemetery, and we're walking around, and I needed a knee replacement. So we've walked about 9 miles. My knee is really sore. And I'd walked through the whole cemetery and stuff. K2 did not have a single blink. And I'm looking around for a place to sit down. Like my leg's giving out. I got to sit down. And I looked around, and there's a tomb, a gravestone that was set up like a bench.
Mm.
And I just said, "I mean no disrespect." I said, "But I can't walk another foot. I need to sit down." Right? So I sat down on it. There was a girl with me. And as soon as I sat down on it, all 5 lights went off. Bam, instantly.
Mm.
Right? And I said, "Do you want me to get up?" Bam, 5 lights again. And I said, "Look, I mean no disrespect, but my leg is really, really sore. Can I just sit here for like 30 seconds?" And it goes like 3 lights and just twinkles for a little bit. Right? So I'm sitting there, and it goes, boom, 5 lights again. I said, "Are you telling me to get off?" Boom, 5 lights. These are instant answers, right? And I said, "Do it again, and I'll get up." Boom, instant. I went, "Okay." And the girl was just like, "I've never seen anything like that." So I told Kat the next night, I said, "You know what? I'm thinking about quitting ghost hunting." She goes, "You're kidding," right? And I said, "Look at what just happened the last 2 days. What am I ever going to find that's bigger than those 2 things?" Right? She goes, "Yeah, but now you know for sure."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You keep going. I mean, even you can get all the EVPs and this and that, but you still, I feel like that all it does is makes you want more. You know? There is a question, Lori. She says, "Is there any place you would never go back to?"
No, actually not. I would go back to any of them. There's some I wouldn't go back because they just weren't active or anything else like that. But nothing that really got to me. Leb Castle, it wasn't Leb Castle that did it, but just to be honest, I almost died out in front of Leb Castle.
Oh.
And it was because something attached to me at a different place. And my eyes, my vision was going like this in front of me. I was in the car, couldn't even get up. And then it started going like, closing like they used to do in the old movies when the movie's over.
Yeah.
And my eye is watering because it felt like something went right through my eye. It felt like the way I described it, felt like a spear went through my eye. And I'm holding my eye and water's gushing out. And the guys from Scottish Paranormal were right in front of Leb Castle. They're looking, "What do we do? What do we do?" I said, "Just let me sit here. Right? Go ghost hunt. Let me regroup." And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, from here down, all my energy went. Mm-hmm. Now you've been on airplanes. When you hit the toilet in the airplanes, how it goes. whoosh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what this felt like. Boom! I had nothing, and I'm just sitting there, and everything's closing. My eyes are closing. I'm like, I'm dying,
Yeah.
and I had no doubt about what's happening. I'm like, I don't believe it. I'm dying, right? And I don't know why, but I said out loud, I said, I've got to go to so many places I never thought I would. I've done so many things I never thought I would. If today's my day, I'm okay with it, right? And I'm just sitting there leaning back, and all of a sudden, my energy comes back, right? And I'm sitting there, and I open the one eye, and I look, and my eye is cleared up. I'm like, what just happened, right? So anyway, now I feel better. The guys come, I get out, and I sit inside for half an hour, and I'm fine. I go ghost hunting and everything else.
Wow.
2 weeks later, one of the guys that had been on the tour with me sent me a message saying, thought you might like to know, we found out that one of the castles that we stopped at, 2 guys had a duel, and one guy got shot through the right eye and died.
Wow. See that validation.
So I think that guy attached to me, trying to show me what happened to him. And when I said, okay, I'm ready to go, and he just went, no, and backed off,
Right, right.
So thank you, dude, whoever you are.
Yeah, thanks for leaving. Yeah.
But people asked me, they said, would you go to Left Castle again? I said, I am going to Left Castle again.
Yeah.
It wasn't Left Castle that had caused it. It was actually this other place.
Yeah.
So
you go to that place?
I'd go to any place.
Yeah. Where is one place that you haven't gone that you would love to go to investigate?
You are going to be absolutely astounded when I tell you. Gettysburg.
Oh, I am astounded. And if you do, I want to be your paranormal tour guide.
Well, I'll take you, or you can take me.
Yes.
I have just never been. I mean, you would think that's like one of the iconic places of everywhere. Everybody tells me, you got to go.
Yes.
Nick Groff was yelling at me, go to. I was like, okay.
That's my background. It's Gettysburg. I love it.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm going to have to go there pretty soon.
Well, you let me know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really want to see it. I mean.
So you've never been there at all?
Never been there.
Oh, Rick, you're going to want to move there.
No, that'd be too close to RA. He lives in Pennsylvania.
You're going to want to move there.
No, I have a feeling when I die, it'll be in Scotland.
Yeah. You're connected to Scotland.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. That's how I am with Gettysburg. I'm connected somewhere there. That's my place.
Well, there's a place right near Roslyn, where Roslyn Chapel is. It's 8 miles away, and it's called Temple. And it's called Temple because it was an actual meeting place and temple for the Knights Templar, right? So it was like a temple. Matter of fact, the town is now called Temple because of that, right? Oh. And we went out there. I was with Ryan O'Neill from Haunted Scotland and Gregor, who has written 23 books about Scotland, and they're both from Scottish Paranormal. They founded Scottish Paranormal, and we're out there and we're talking. And finally, I just asked. I said, because I had a real strong feeling about this place. I don't know why I had a feeling like I might have been buried in this place, right? And I just said to him, I said, has any of the 3 of us ever been here before? And it said in French. It answered in French. It went, de toi. So in other words, all 3 of us had been there before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's what the answer was?
Yeah. Have any of us been here? And so it went 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
That's what de toi means. It was 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha.
A lot of people don't realize that a lot of the Knights Templar were from France.
Yeah, no, I know very little about the Knights Templar, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty much into them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that guy was your best friend, right? One of your best friends.
Oh, he was, there was a connection there that was deeper than you would think it could be.
Yeah. So tell everybody just like, some of the things where they can find some of your work, talk about and your book, this and that. Like, just tell everybody some of the things that you've worked on, that where they can check you out, go check your stuff out.
Well, there's if you go onto IMDb, you can look up the different movies I've been in. I'm trying to think of the other thing that you said in there. What was the other part of the question?
Your book.
Oh, the books. Yeah, those kind of count. The first book I wrote is called Ghosts Believe in Me. And the reason for that, it sounds very self-aggrandizing, and it wasn't meant to be that way, but I was on a show, and this guy, the very first thing he says to me, he goes, "You don't really believe in ghosts, do you?" And I was thinking, what an asshole.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, if you want to play that game, in my head, I went, no. And I didn't say anything else. And then he goes, "No, you really do believe in ghosts." I said, "No, I don't have to. Ghosts believe in me." And people that were on the show sent me all these messages. What a great name, come back. So I named the book Ghosts Believe in Me.
Awesome.
It actually won the 2020 Paranormal Book of the Year award.
Right.
Then the other book I just wrote a couple of years ago, it's called The Spirits Are Out There and They're Waiting for You. And there's some pretty good stuff in both of them. And
are these firsthand accounts, or are these like stories you've gotten from other people?
They're firsthand accounts, but they're also, one thing I've done, by the way, both of the books are available on Amazon, and they're only $10 a piece. So, I mean, it's not like I'm trying to kill anybody. Matter of fact, the money that I make, I send to St. Jude.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's, the two books are really basically about me, because I just have to do the first person, because it's ghost hunting.
Right.
And, if I keep telling other people's stories, that doesn't really tell me that I know what happened.
Right.
But what I've done in my books, if there was somebody else there when something happened, you see behind in a gray box, I put there when it's somebody else speaking in the book with a gray background, so that they can say what they saw of the same thing I saw, right? And it just gives more validity to what happened, right?
Awesome.
And yeah, there's some really interesting things in those books. I mean, really interesting. I'll tell you one real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I used to have a dog named Tubby, and this is one of the things I say about ghosts too, that if you have, animals can read you, by the way. If dogs like you, ghosts will like you, right? Well, I wanted to get a Great Dane at the ghost house we were staying at. And my old man says, yeah, go ahead, because we had a huge backyard with a fence. And I called up this lady, the only place I could find them. She goes, now this is 1979, right? A long time ago. And she goes, yeah, they start at $500. Yeah, that's a lot of money back then. Well, my dad at times had a lot of money, or other times he owed a lot of money, right? So this is one of the times he had some money. So he goes, come on, let's go look. So we go out, and it's like 30 miles away. We drive there, we get there, and she's bringing all these dogs out. These dogs are all going, showing off. It's like, come on, it's like watching Brad Pitt in Legends of the Fall, standing there looking off in the distance.
Well, I'll watch that all day long, but go ahead.
But anyway, I want a dog. I want a dog I can get him in a headlock and give him a couple of these.
Yeah.
Anyway, finally she goes, well, that's about it. I said, well, can you bring the other dog out? She goes, how do you know there's another dog? I said, you said that's about it. She goes, well, I do have one more, but he's vicious. She goes, he bites everybody. He bites, fights with all the other dogs. I said, can I see him? She goes, no. She goes, this dog, I'm telling you, he's vicious. I said, please. She goes, okay. So she brings out this magnificent looking animal. I mean, he's like 170 pounds, just muscle and just gorgeous. He looks like he fell off the Cal-Can can, right? And he comes out and she's got a muzzle on him. And I'm looking at him. And he's looking me in the face and I'm looking him in the face. And I get down on one knee and he's about 5 feet away from me. I said, take his mask off. And she goes, oh, I can't do that. I said, if he bites me, it's on me. Okay. And she goes, I'm telling you, he's vicious. I said, please. She takes the mask off and he's looking, and I went, come here. Right? And he looks at me and I said, hey, come here. And he walks up and he puts his nose right in front of my nose, and the lady's having a heart attack because she knows he's going to eat my face. Right? I'm looking at him, and I swear to God, God is my witness. He takes another step. He puts his head on my shoulder and leans on me.
Oh, baby.
Right? And the lady's looking, and I start rubbing his head and everything else, and I push him back. And I go, sit. And he looks at me, and I reach behind him, and I went on his butt. I went, sit. And he sat down. I said, good boy. And he's like, right? I said, I want him, right? And she looks at me, she goes, you can have him. I said, how much? She goes, no, you can have him. She goes, I've never seen an animal react to another human like that in my life.
Well, especially one that's like, known to be aggressive, right? Like a total.
And he only bit a few people. He bit my brother a couple of times because my brother attacked me wrestling and stuff, and he thought it was
protective.
Yeah, he thought it was an attack, so he was defending me.
Right.
But the weirdest thing I was going to tell you that goes along with this thing, this dog stuck to me everywhere I went. I mean, I had a 175-pound shadow anywhere I went. But one day I'm sitting there, everybody's out of the house, and I'm cross-legged watching TV, and he's laying on the floor, and all of a sudden he goes, and he sits up, and he's like the Sphinx, that's like,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden his eyes slant, and his teeth go, and his ears go down. I'm like, oh crap! Now I know what she's talking about because he's looking at me, and I'm going, Tubby, it's me, Tubby, it's me, and he's going, right, and I'm looking at him real close, and I realize he's looking over my shoulder.
Oh.
Right, so I think it's a burglar, right? So I go, Tubby, get him, and all I saw was this tan streak go by me. And I jump up to go help him, because if it's a burglar, I'm going to jump in there and help him. And he's on his back paws. Now, he's my height when he's on his back paws. He's a big dog, right? And he's actually on his back feet, and he's jumping in the air, and he's biting, and his front paws are just flailing at the air, and he's biting and growling. And he comes down, and he's standing there, and he's going, and I'm still behind him, and he's looking around. Finally, he turns around, looks at me, and he goes, okay, we're good, right? And he comes over, and I start petting him. I was like, what the hell did he see?
Right? Yeah, no. That would scare me.
Yeah, but I mean, well, look at him though. My boy was sticking up for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like, I don't know, like when because there's been a couple of times that my cats were kind of reacting to something, and it didn't scare me, but like it almost like, when you don't have any tangible stuff to like say, yeah, there's something standing here that you can't see, like it's scary, but it's not scary, the thought of it. But then when you actually are witnessing your pet or whatever, like I said, it's happened a couple of times, reacting to something that you can't see, but they are reacting because you know what they look like when they react to people or certain things. But you see them reacting, like it's a little unsettling to me.
Yeah, actually, I have a friend downstairs that I watch her dog for when she has to go out of town, and that's him.
Oh, look at those ears!
And he actually went running to my back bedroom and stood there and just started going with the deep growl. That's how you can tell an animal's going to attack, because they use the sound when it gets down. It throws the other animals off track. That's why tigers go when they're going to attack. But yeah, he saw something, and he was in my back bedroom. That's where I see the shadows and the other stuff going by.
My dog would run. He's afraid of his own shadow, let alone anything scary and unknown. Oh, look at that baby. Oh,
that's my Great Dane.
Gorgeous.
And when I lived in Tennessee, we had a couple other people that would protect us.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful. They are beautiful. You don't see too many of them anymore.
Doberman?
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is the one on the right, he's the son of the other one. And the other one is in a trained attack dog, right? And the other one is just he's the biggest doofus that ever lived. But he was my buddy. I used to take him everywhere.
So, did you ever take them on ghost hunts with you?
No,
No.
I never did. I have been on ghost hunts where there have been dogs with us, and that really didn't turn out very well.
Yeah.
Because the dogs you get a little wanderlust and go wander to a different part of the building. And
Yeah.
of course, that happens with some of the people you're ghost hunting with too.
That's true. Would you? So, my place, my number one place to if it was like no money, no restrictions, you could go in and you could have just a full night of ghost hunting. Mine's the White House.
A lot of reports of ghosts there.
Yeah, and it's never been done, except for Mary Todd Lincoln would do her little seances every weekend because she wanted to try to, have Abe come back and talk to her. But I mean, aside from that, like it's never been done.
Did you know about Abe's dream? Abe had a dream that he was walking down the stairs from up above where the rooms are. And he's coming down and there's a guard standing on the stairs and the place is flooded with people all dressed in black. And he goes, "What's going on?" He goes, "Well, it's a viewing for a funeral." And he looks over and he goes, "Well, who died?" And he goes, "Well, you did, Mr. President."
Oh, wow.
Now, you want to add a little flavor to that story? John Wilkes Booth is a relative of mine.
Well, when you said John Wilkes earlier, I was going to say, is there a Booth at the end of that, John Wilkes?
Well, they were related, and that's how we found out that John Wilkes Booth was also,
So you've always been in the in with the the elite, should I say?
Well, I don't know so elite about people sneaking up behind you and shooting you. That's
I mean, like they're famous people, right? So everybody knows who John Wilkes Booth is, And
well, you know what's so funny? All the people on my side of the family, well, except for the Scottish parts, because we related actually probably to 3 kings of Scotland, which is not bad, right?
Right.
But the other side of the family, I mean, we have Benedict Arnold, the guy who sold out the Americans, John Wilkes Booth, Aaron Burr, the guy who shot, what was his name? Alexander Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually vice president of the United States at the time when he shot Hamilton.
Right.
So we've got a lot of people that just not the best of humanity. Let's put it that way.
But still, but like I said, like you also, like you've worked, I mean, I love Clint Eastwood, and you've worked with, either for him, with him, and you've some pretty awesome stuff, and it's quite an accomplishment. I mean, did you ever think about writing a book about that?
No, because once you would get into that, you'd start wanting to tell other stories that you shouldn't.
Right. What about the 3 of you about Hollywood ghost hunters?
Talking about stuff, it'd be real hard because, we'd have to teach RA how to write.
Listen, if you go to Gettysburg, it should be that you guys, the 3 of you should go to Gettysburg. I'll be your tour guide and we can do like little live bursts all over the place of us ghost hunting together in Gettysburg and going to all the paranormal hotspots.
Well, Kane wouldn't go. I know that because he's not anywhere close by. And whenever he's not doing a movie or that, he likes to stay with his family.
Sure.
So trying to get him out, but RA might, because he lives in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I live in here's a clue.
Hollywood. You know what? I just watched a documentary on one of the writers of Grey's Anatomy, which I never knew this, but she was like this this big fraud. Like she lied about having cancer. She lied about being abused. Like this big long story. She was from Hollywood. And she lived in Hollywood, California, and she became one of the co-executive writers for Grey's Anatomy. But because of all these like traumas that she was going through, they didn't want to fire her, so they kept her on, and she would write like, it's almost like she like said she had a mental breakdown from being abused by her brother, so she checked herself into like a mental asylum or whatever, and then wrote an episode for Grey's Anatomy for something like that, and like kind of like wanted to became like one of the characters and stuff. It was crazy how long she
finding people who lie and who are phonies in Hollywood you don't have to look very far.
True. This is true.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nut jobs out here.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people who will rip you off and smile in your face.
100%. Yep. I've had to learn that the hard way. And I probably will continue to learn that.
I usually just keep a shovel in my truck. That way, if it gets really ugly, I can whack him with the shovel and dig a hole.
So before we depart, because believe it or not, it's been an hour. I can't believe how fast the time went. But besides do you have anything else coming up besides the Ireland? Somebody was saying that they think they saw that advertised.
Yeah, it should be popping up, all over the place, actually.
There you go.
Screenshot it. But yeah, that's going to be something. But I'm also going to be going to Scotland beforehand, and and I'll be doing a lot of ghost hunting. I'm actually supposed to have 2 days of ghost hunting in Tombstone. The Tombstone Grand owes me 2 days of lodging, but I'm fighting with them to get it.
Oh, well,
yeah, they had a strike, and all the maids left. And I was there for 3 days for the Paracon, and my friend Mikey walks in, and I had just thrown open my bed, and I had never thrown it open. I usually just pull it back and I get out, and I threw back, and the whole bottom was covered with poop. All across the bottom and all over the place.
Oh.
And it looked to me like somebody set a baby down and was trying to change it and slid it, and it got all over everything. And
which happens, but what else it looked like was that the cleaning people just didn't clean it.
Well, they didn't, because the cleaning people were on strike.
Oh.
So I brought the lady and I said, "Look at this." Right? She goes, "Oh my gosh." I said, "I slept in that for 2 nights."
Ugh.
Right? And she goes, "Well, that's horrible." She goes, "Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take the city was paying for my room." She goes, "We're not going to charge the city for that." I said, "Yeah, that's wonderful. What are you going to do for me, the guy that actually had to sleep in that?"
Right.
And she goes, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I think you should give me a free day for each day I had to sleep in that."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, we can make that happen." I said, "Okay." Now that I'm not there, then we're not making it happen quite as easily.
I would just show up and be like, "I'm here for my 2 days."
Yeah, it's like, here I am. No, I'll take care of it. I just haven't gotten to the right person. That's all. Because they seem like pretty nice people there. You ever stay at the Tombstone Grand?
No, I've never been to Tombstone. I would love to go.
Oh, yeah, Tombstone Grand is the nicest hotel of all of them. And it's right across the street from Boot Hill.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I would love to go to Tombstone.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, Rick, thank you so much for coming on and talking and sharing your stories. I appreciate your time.
Well, you do remember when you told me, you said, "Can you do an hour?" And I said, "I can turn Hello into a mini series."
That's true. I mean, look, yeah, the time went by so fast.
I think I need to have that on a T-shirt. I can turn hello into a miniseries.
So great. So great. I enjoyed our conversation and I enjoyed having you on and I enjoyed hearing your experiences. And I thank you so much. And listen, if you seriously make it or you're going to make it to Gettysburg, let me know.
I will.
I am there, you know.
I definitely will.
I am there and we would have a lot of fun. It's such a great town. History-wise, along with the paranormal, not just the paranormal. History is just bleeds so deep there. You know what I mean? So it's you would love it for both reasons.
Yeah, I don't know if I could take all of that.
It's crazy. Some people say that there's very few people that say that they feel like the sadness and this and that, but it's so peaceful and it's so ironically so peaceful for me anyway. And you can feel the land and the earth, you can feel the trees, you can feel like it's so surreal, like to be sitting there looking at these fields where 50,000 casualties occurred, and thinking of everything that happened there. You're like, I can't imagine it. This place is so beautiful, so peaceful, so, and I feel like when I'm there, I feel the things in between the fighting, where they were sitting around the fire camps and they were talking and they were drinking and they were smoking their tobacco and they were, because a lot of these men and women were friends and relatives, even if they were on the opposite sides. So there was really none of that like hatred there. They were fighting for things that they believed in, or fighting because they were told they had to fight, one of the two. But anyway, so like when I'm there, I feel like I feel those in between things, the courage and the, wanting to fight to get home, like, because nobody thought it was going to go on that long. So those are the things I feel. I don't feel like the death and the dying and the, you know what I mean? It's sometimes can be very emotional. Sometimes, I mean, I've been to Little Round Top. I think because I go there to watch the sunset, and I think I've fallen asleep on those rocks, and like that's my spot. And I've gone there a million times, but there's times where I walk up there and all of a sudden I just start crying, and it's not sadness. It's like I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's this emotional overcharge or something,
Well, if you're going to be a good ghost hunter, you gotta have some things that pick up energy.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there is a place right near Rosslyn Chapel where they had the Battle of Rosslyn in 1303, and the king sent 30,000 soldiers to kill one guy, one of the Sinclairs. And the townspeople heard about it, and they came out, and they had like 8,000 people come out to fight the 30,000 soldiers. And these were guys that had shovels and axes. They didn't have a lot of weaponry. Well, just before, now there's different stories if this really happened or not. But just as they started to go out, all these guys on horses came up, and they said, "We understand you're going to have a battle. Want some help?" The guy goes, "Sure, what's your name?" The guy goes, "William Wallace," who was Braveheart.
Yeah.
And then they said right after that, they turned around and Templar, right? Also built, the chapel. But they said right then, Barnett came up with white vests and red cross on the front. And it came up and said, "All right, we're ready, let's go." And they went out there, and they were outnumbered like 3 to 4 to 1. And they said the only English that survived were the really fast ones.
Was the what?
Really fast ones. They ran away. But there is another part. That is the field that I'm looking around at to ghost hunt, or fell and blew out my knee. So I figured I am the last casualty of the Battle of 1303.
That was a cute story.
True story. Yeah, you know what? When we went out there ghost hunting, zero.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. I mean, even in Gettysburg, sometimes it happens. Some of the places I've been to that are my favorite places that, you're like, okay, you hype it up, but then, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Well, what's so cool about this place? Me and the one guy, when I had fallen, I had to walk 2.5 miles after I'd fallen, which was not easy because my knee was totally blown out, right? And I had to climb over these 2 metal rails, right? Because it's actually
don't go sun alone. Don't go sun alone.
Well, nobody wants to play with me. But anyway, I did learn a lesson. Now when I go out places, I carry a whistle with me.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I finally get over there. I'm covered in mud, and this guy, he was in his window. I finally got around to some houses. And I said, "Hey, can I catch the bus back to Roslyn from here?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it's a little bit of ways." I said, "Okay, thanks." And I'm covered in mud, right? And I start walking down the way, and I get about 75 feet, and it's been like 5 minutes. I'm never going to get anywhere. This car pulls up, and this guy says, "Hey, hop in." And I said, "Dude, I'm covered in mud." He goes, "Dude, I work on a farm. Get in." Right? And I got in the car, and I think I was cleaner than the car was. But he drove me back to where I was staying, went the wrong way on the street so I could get out. The lady who runs the chapel, not the chapel, the Chapel Cross guest house, comes running out and said, "Do you want me to get you an ambulance?" I mean, they could tell that I was pretty in trouble. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because my name, Rick McCallum, is also the name of the guy who produces Star Wars, right? The guy that picked me up, his name is Jamie Cameron, right? So the fact is, somebody said, if you guys have been in a car wreck, he says, the whole world would have been crying about it because James Cameron and Rick McCallum got killed. And he said, till about 10 minutes until I figured out who it really was.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's interesting. That's cool. I mean, you've experienced so much, and 50 years of doing this, is impressive, and not just the paranormal stuff, but even the stuff you do with the films and, this and that. And, like I said, go and look up his IMDb, look his IMDb up. You'll see all the things that this awesome guy was involved with.
There's about 25 of them that aren't on there.
Really?
Yeah. Because a lot of things that you do, they don't ever come out.
Right.
And stuff like that. So, and plus the fact I've been in a few movies that were so bad, they went straight to audio. They were so awful, they couldn't get any images to stick to film. So.
Hey, but you did it, right? It's an accomplishment. Like nothing, it doesn't matter. Like I have two of my pictures that I've taken in Gettysburg, because I take, scenery pictures all the time. I have like the same pictures of the same stuff all the time. I just can't get enough. But anyway, I had somebody reach out to me. He was a historian, author, tour guide. He was writing a book for Gettysburg. He says, "Can I use 2 of your photos in my book?" Yeah. I was like, "Oh, are you getting paid for that?" That is my payment. My photos are in a peach orchard tour guide book for Gettysburg. I was like, that's all the payment I need.
That's pretty dang good.
That's all the payment. I don't need to be paid for that, because that's my payment. Like, my pictures are in that book.
Yeah, that's pretty dang good.
So, yeah. So it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be, it could be like the smallest accomplishment. It's an accomplishment. So
that's not a small accomplishment. A small accomplishment. That's a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a picture in here, but I can't find it. Oh, I'll show you one though, just because this is the one. of all the ghost hunting and movies I've done, this was by far the most terrifying thing I've ever come across. So
Boy.
I'm going to show you the pictures, but be ready.
Okay. Oh yeah, no dolls. What is that?
It's a little girl in a T-Rex suit drinking a soda.
Oh my gosh.
You see the little face in the middle?
Yes.
She came wobbling up to my table, and
that would be terrifying to me too.
I mean, it was awesome.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. Anyway, all right. Well, away with me.
Yes, Rick.
Banish me. Send me to my room. Wait a minute. I am in my room. Never mind.
I definitely want to talk about Gettysburg with you, though. That would be so fun.
Yeah, no, I really want to go there. I mean, everybody yells at me because I haven't been there yet.
You have to go. You have to make it a bucket. You have to make it a.
Well, I think what I'll do is maybe I'll stop in Gettysburg and then go on to Scotland.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, definitely, I would love to tag along, and show you around. Yeah. But I thank you again so much for coming on. This was a really cool episode. And again, I've never had a horror guy on, and you're my first. So thank you for being a first. And
you're welcome.
And keep in touch.
Well, I will tell you something really quickly.
Yes.
You were talking about Clint Eastwood, and when I got introduced to him, my friend who was a stunt coordinator, they've been friends forever. He looks over and he goes, "Clint, this is my friend Rick. I've known him for a long time. He's been around a long time." Clint looks at me and he goes, "You've been around a long time, have you?" Right? And I pointed at
like him.
I pointed at this and said, "This isn't paint." Right? And he just started cracking up.
He is such a cool. Is he really that cool? He seems like he's such a cool.
You know what? He is by far one of the most loyal people in the movie business, far and away.
Yeah, I love Clint Eastwood. Love him. Gran Torino. Remember Gran Torino? That movie was fantastic.
Well, he actually let a friend of mine, Buddy Van Horn, who was a stunt coordinator and stunt double his whole career. Buddy was doing second unit directing. That's all the action with the stunt people and none of the actors.
Mm-hmm.
And Clint calls him over one day and he goes, "Hey, sit down." Because right across from where Clint's office is, right across the street from where Buddy lives. So Buddy walks over there and he goes, "Buddy, we've been together a long time. Is there anything else you'd like to do?" And Buddy goes, "Well, I'd like to actually, direct a movie." And he goes, "Good." Thump, drops a script on the thing. And he goes, "Get busy." And he walks out.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So he took care of his friends.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like such a cool dude. Like, I mean, I don't know him, but I absolutely love Clint Eastwood for sure. Like, I love him. So that I mean, I think all that stuff is really cool, the experiences you must have had on the sets and like different personalities, different people, different, you know what I mean? Like, it's just seems like
Chuck Norris is an extraordinarily nice guy. Clint is a very nice guy. Greg Evigan, who you might not remember, used to be on BJ and the Bear and other stuff like that. I doubled him in a movie called Deepstar Six, and played the monster in that too, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that.
But they're extraordinarily nice people, and it's what I like to do. I like to go through the drive-through and go, "Yeah, can I get this? Hey, Clint, what do you want?" "Well, I want this I want that." And we go. Then you get up to, "Give me a cheeseburger with less cheese." And when you get up there, there'll be like 5 people looking in the car,
That's great. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Sorry I talked so long that we ran over.
No, you're fine. Do not apologize. Do not apologize. It's my show. So whatever goes, flows, whatever. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can have you on again, or like I said, we meet in Gettysburg and we'll do a little live walk around and kind of hang out and whatever.
All right. And I'll come on anytime you want me.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate your time.
And you did this new stuff really worked out good.
I know. I mean, this is my first time using Restream, and you know, you're my first for a couple of things tonight.
I'm so excited. I was the ladies first at something finally. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you.
And I'll see you around. Keep in touch, please.
And to all those nice people that were listening, see ya.
See you guys later. All right. Make sure you guys check it out. I'll be on next week. Paranormal Brew. And please share this out. Not for me, but share it out for my guest. Share it out for Rick. Share it out for him and the Hollywood Ghost Hunters. Just, you know, get it out there. I want to thank everybody for joining me, and I hope to see you guys next week. Good night, guys. I think.